Hard in the paint, we are back. It is your boy JBobby. I know you love to see me like always. ISO, the NBA draft is bad. Me and Colin went to the NBA draft and I told Colin it's bad.
People were excited for Wemby, generational talent. People were hyped to see Scoot. After the first 10 picks, nobody cares. The building is dead. The energy is not there, especially when the Knicks don't got a pick. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10.
And it was boring as fuck. There was no energy. And I realized, I'm like, why was last year better than this year? And I realized the Knicks didn't have a pick. So that whole energy of having Knicks fans in the building cheering, none of that was there. The food was horrible. First of all, I have the worst chicken tenders I ever had in my life. You can't destroy chicken tenders. They're great. But anyway, they fucked that up and it was just bad. The energy was bad. Nobody really cared after the first 10 picks, like I said, and I came to be true. Around the key where we pass the ball around like the Golden State Warriors, like I like to say. And Big Tone is in the fucking building.
Hello. Very kind. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, the friend of a show. But like, if you haven't seen this is your first time watching, Big Tone, introduce yourself to the world.
Big Tone here. Just a guy doing some stuff on Twitter, Instagram, like talking sports, gambling sports, and you fellas are always kind enough to chop it up with me. So here we are, and the draft is boring. So I second that.
Hi, Colin. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
How was your draft experience? Let you speak it.
Yeah, he's right. I did tell JBobby I was excited to go, and like it was cool. It was cool being there for Wemby and all, but the energy was definitely down. I think I was more entertained in the latter picks by that kid who lost his wallet, and we were watching him scramble around. So if he's out there, bro, I hope you found your wallet. But yeah, no, that was the highlight.
The biggest NBA trade or acquisitions of the offseason. Chris Paul trade. I feel like that's the biggest one, right? Like, am I wrong? I feel like, how do you see Chris Paul playing out with the Golden State Warriors?
I see a guy who's swallowing a lot of pride right now. Here's why I think it will work is because he is such a pro. I think he'll try and make it work as best it can. Doesn't make any sense to me. Him and Steph are not fans of each other. I don't think that's lost on anyone. But for me, not a huge fan of the trade.
I kind of liked it. I seen JJ Redick talking about, well, Chris Paul plays a slower pace of offense and he does a lot of pick and rolls and Golden State doesn't really do that.
Since Steve Kerr took over, the Golden State Warriors have ran the fewest ball screens in the NBA. Last year, Chris had the 4th most on-ball screens in the NBA. Warriors had the 3rd fewest.
He's such a high-Q basketball player that he'll be able to fit in somehow, some way. It takes a little bit of the pressure off Steph Curry when you talk about ball handling and shit like that, where he can get open, he can run around and get those shots just like Clay. So I think you add an extra body. Yeah, he's older now, but Chris Paul is a really good player.
He's still Chris Paul, right? I mean, I get that part. Steph is going to be one of those guys who's going to be like, he's not going to say anything, right? It's not 2014 anymore or whatever that thing. It's over. It's squashed. He's on the team. They'll make it work. High IQ, a little bit more methodical, maybe just a different Golden State Warriors team we're going to see.
I think the issue with them is that they got smaller.
They need to get bigger. They did not get bigger. So we'll see how they do in free agency. But the one kind of silver lining in all this, I think we can all agree, it's about time Chris Paul started playing like 20, 25 minutes a game instead of like 30, 35. So this is going to offer them that. I think the Warriors, they've been losing horribly the non-Steph minutes for the past like 5 years. So I give credit for them for, trying to solve that. I think Chris Paul, 6th man of the year.
I was just going to say he's going to be the best point guard on the bench in the league, right? So there is some depth that's there for sure. I still think, and we'll probably get into it, I still think Draymond is a piece you have to have back on that team.
I agree.
But we'll see how it goes.
I mean, because we're talking about free agency as well. Yeah. But like, I think like if they don't sign, they got smaller, and if they don't sign Draymond, who was a defensive presence for them, and just like a facilitator as well, and what he can do, I think that's a huge fucking problem with them. I think like people, I know like obviously it's get past Jokic, right? Like next year, we understand that. But what we saw against them in the Lakers, the size difference, and what AD had fucking Curry seeing ghosts, I think they need to address that.
He's a spark, man. He's juice. He's the pulse of the team. And I think you can say that. There is a certain ignition he gives the team. Like, you can't lollygog it out there when he's on the court or if he's around or he'll punch you.
On the Jordan Poole side of things also, like I was against the trade like earlier. Like I understand a lot of teams are want to like ditch, like get cap relief with the new CBA. Jordan Poole's only 23. I'm older than Jordan Poole. I still think he's gonna do fine in Washington with all that freedom. But this is the first time the Warriors have said, you know what, we're going all in. We're not going to do the 2 timeline thing where we rebuild and contend at the same time. So I give them credit for saying, you know, we have one of the greatest players of all time on our team right now. We're going to ride this thing out as much as we can and go full throttle.
Who do you think is the best young core in the league?
For me, I'm a huge fan of the Detroit Pistons and what they've been able to do. I love Jaden Ivey. I love Jalen Duren as a 2-way player. Cade Cunningham's coming back. And we look at teams like the Thunder, the Rockets, and the Magic are the other teams we've been talking about. The Pistons, though, they have the best coach in Monty Williams, who I think is a great coach for young players as well. I'm all on Detroit.
I think OKC has shown that they're one of those teams. One team I'm kind of intrigued by, the Anthony Black pick with the Magic and Fultz. I'm curious to see what happens over there. I thought that was a wacky kind of draft. There's a good chunk of young teams right now. I think we're going to see some people make some pushes for sure.
Rockets, I want them to win for like internet memes. But I think like when you look at OKC, I'm a big Chet fan. Like I think Chet can be like something phenomenal. And then when you look at Giddey and you look at SGA still, like they can be really fucking good. Like I feel like that core, like that could be maybe a big 3 down the line, but it can be done the right way like Dame wants.
Careful.
But I think they are the most promising team.
Do you guys think any of these teams can make a playoff push? Because I think the Detroit Pistons could challenge for a playing spot next year.
Probably out of those ones we talked about, I would say Detroit's probably the only one with like odds-on favorite as far as like Vegas would go. I'd say they're probably the closest, I would think.
Who did they draft?
Who did they draft? Case and Wallace.
Bro, that whole buff shit, like if you don't know, in the black culture in Detroit, they have Cartiers, right? And they're called buffs in Detroit. And he said like, yo, I'm coming with Cade. I got the buffs too. They were not fucking buffs. Whoever's over there and signed off on that shit, like I don't want to say you should be fired because players fuck up. But I'm just saying, bro, that was insane, bro. Like they should have deleted that post. I hope they did, but that wasn't fucking buff.
The NBA is going to be better with Detroit being good.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I hope they are good, but that's not a good start.
Yeah, that's not
not a good start. Not a good start.
The Wemby hype is toxic.
People are talking about this guy like he's Jesus Christ. I don't know if
said that
I'm
last week, yeah.
in on this. He is literally built like these light things here. He's just a little guy who's a big guy, you know? It's crazy. It's just
that is so spot on. It normally would make no sense, but I know exactly what you mean.
I just like, you know, when I tell my brother he's like the dumbest, smartest person I ever met. It's like they're both right there. For me is this, okay? He's clearly good. I think all of France put all resources in. That team's just not existing anymore, apparently. It's like he's leaving and now they're gone. I don't know. It comes down to the end of the day. These guys are strong. They're tough. I get worried about injuries. That's really what it is. I just get worried about injuries with them.
So you're saying he was their academy?
Yeah. Literally, I think everybody left. They're all just here now in like Pop's basement, just hanging out, playing cards.
I mean, the question is like, how good is he going to be, right? And then there was a take by, I think, Chris Broussard.
If he's Kevin Durant, if he's Hakeem Olajuwon, he has not met expectations. Okay.
But I think if he's not a generational top 20 player, I think then we start to have a conversation.
Yeah, I think it's tough if he's not, turning Gatorade into wine, he's a bust. But I think for me, it's like, just go be a good top 15, 10 player in the NBA in your time. I don't need this guy to be I don't think he's gonna be a top 10 player all time. I don't think need that. I think if you live up to the hype, you're somebody who changes your team, makes them better. This is a team that is all in on him and they have to be good soon, because if not, there's gonna be a problem out there in San Antonio. But it's gonna be interesting. That's for sure.
I think the thing that's going to help his case is no one's going to be looking, because the Spurs aren't a full rebuild. That's how they got this pick. No one's going to be looking at the Spurs to like win right now. I mean, you guys said it. We have the highest expectation for this guy. This guy could be like a 3-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, and an MVP. And people would say like, oh, like he's probably not. He's bust. And that is so unfair. I feel like everyone's kind of acknowledged how insane expectations we have for him. So like we're all kind of realizing how we are kind of talking crazy right now, and maybe we'll bring it down a little bit, but we've never seen anything like him before. So it is insane.
It's just cool. It's just cool.
I think he has like LeBron expectations, right?
Yeah.
Like when LeBron came into the league, he was supposed to be the savior and he was supposed to be better than Jordan. And for the most part, LeBron exceeded that, right? In some cases.
No, he did, for sure.
So, I mean, like, whether you like Bron or not. So, I mean, like, Wemby has that same expectations, because if he doesn't go out and get multiple rings and multiple championships, it's just kind of like, oh, well, he wasn't what you said he was.
I think all he needs is a chip and an MVP, one of each, and I think people will be satisfied.
I want to see this kid get dunked on and have a building erupt and see how he handles that, right? Because it's going to happen. I can see Ja just coming from the parking lot on him, right? So, I mean, I'm curious to see. That's like the welcome to the NBA stuff. Let's see how you can handle it when all eyes are kind of on you in regards to you're the number one pick, you're the future, right? So it'll be interesting. I'm going to be watching.
KD is the most insecure player in the NBA.
I just think how y'all even look at the game is whack as playoff success. Like you factor in team success when you talking about players. I just think how y'all consume the game is trash. Like, are you good or not?
But imagine you talking shit about Michael Jordan and Michael Jordan hopped in your life. Like, what you say, motherfucker?
Hello, Mr. Air.
I would like that type of shit.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
I would like that kind of shit because I feel like either if you're right or you're wrong, right? You can debate him, and then that's a cool moment for you. And like, I think like if you are wrong, somebody can correct you and give you a different perspective of somebody that actually does play the game. So I think it's more so like a lot of people have hot takes now. I do. So I feel like if somebody can come and educate me and correct me, I like that shit too. But also, I don't like the fact that players don't like criticism, right? Because like, I get it. People are talking shit about you, defend yourself. But you to be like, oh, you shouldn't talk about basketball. I don't like the way you think about basketball. That's bullshit. Like, and everybody today is a fucking casual. If you don't like the opinion's bullshit. Oh, you're a casual. Fuck you. I'm still gonna say what the fuck I want to say. Like, I don't care. Even if you know more, I see people know basketball all the time and they still get it fucking wrong. So shout out to y'all.
Kevin Durant on the internet is my favorite fucking thing about the sports scene. I think it rocks. You said it. Like, it's the accessibility. Like, we have never had a guy that good who is that accessible to Joe Schmo, where you can just, people pay so much money. What's that app, Cameo, just to get a little snippet of like some famous guy like saying what's up. Like, you can get a Kevin Durant discussion about basketball for free on Twitter. I think that fucking rules. We talk about all the time, oh, social media sucks, and yeah, there are a lot of like bad parts of it, but I think this is so cool. I think it's so cool and he's just a guy who likes to talk ball.
This is one of my biggest like pet peeves with people in sports. Everybody says, well, I wish they would just be honest. I wish they would just tell us what they're thinking instead of all like the coach speech or the, we got to try harder and, everyone's a good teammate. We just got to get to the gym and work. Shut up. Like, no one wants to hear that shit, right? And what KD does is he comes over the top and he just dunks on you, on the court and off of it. You don't have to like him. I'd rather have him get in those spaces, start talking a little bit of shit about why he's good, why this person's good. I liked it. I also think it's such a now what, like let's everybody, it's the classic internet came out in that video. Everyone's super mean. And then the second they're in your face or talking to you, super kind, right? It was just, KD's a dog. He's a bad dude. He's one of the best players ever. And I just don't know if he gets the respect he does because he talks so much. But I don't think he's insecure. I think Trae Young is.
Catching strays.
Yeah.
Fuck Trae Young.
Yeah, exactly.
If Dame doesn't go to Miami, he will never win a championship. Dame at this point, like, he had a meeting, I think, last night, and then apparently they came to the conclusion that they're going to try to build around Dame, and Dame is not leaving, and Dame is going to see what they're going to do. But at this point, it's like, who could they really go out to get and put around Dame to make them a better team? I don't understand why you would want to stay there. I think he's being stubborn. I understand the loyalty, and I think I understand you wanting to stay in Portland because you made a home there, you made a career there. But sometimes you're at the, not only say the end of your career, but you're in the tail end realistically because you're getting older. It's time for you to force your hand and make a move.
To me, this is more of like a legacy thing for Dame. Like, I think, you see all these guys jump ship to get the rings and make these teams, and that's the legacy. There's something to be said in an era where nobody stays, and you stay. He's still got to probably win some bigger games in the playoffs, but I don't know. I'm old, so I like when guys stay on one team. I would like to see it, but I'm with you. I don't think they're going to have those pieces, like you're saying, to compete on the level that he wants to compete.
I think you should be allowed to ring chase at the end of your career. I don't think anyone's going to like criticize a guy, especially if you haven't won one. I think sticking with the team when you didn't have to, maybe it's not the best thing for your legacy. That's what like inspires people, I think, is, toughing it out and trying to do something the hard way. Yep. Is it the smartest thing to do? Usually not. It's usually not.
Yeah, you
'cause
could argue
you're making it harder for yourself.
Yeah, I guess you
but-
could argue KD winning when everyone thought you should win is just as impressive.
But
right?
KD's situation is a little bit different to me.
1,000%.
Because
yeah.
one, he had a chance to win with that team. They went to the finals.
Yep.
And they were in position. They were up 3-1 against that fucking team.
Yep.
And they
That was a hell of a
that makes me
crazy.
so fucking angry when I think about that shit. But we're not even gonna talk
That's a
about
good
that.
point.
Big Tone, before we get out of here, anything you want to say to the people, to the land?
No, I appreciate you guys having me. It's always fun talking ball with guys, and I appreciate the time, and thank you. That's all.
Give out your handles, man.
At Big Tone here on Instagram and on Twitter. So you can find me at Big Tone here, and we'll throw some content out for you.
Once again, shout out to New Era for the hats. You know what I'm saying? Go get that. Preferably Lakers. But
I'm a hat guy. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm a hat guy. New Era hats, quite literally, are some of the best fitting hats like on the planet. Like
That's
I'm not
a
even
fact.
just I don't work here. I don't get paid to say it. They really are. I got a billion of them. So
no cap, no pun intended.
oh,
Killing it.
Like always, like and subscribe. We out of here, gang, gang. Does JBobby make you angry? Well, that's good. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe, baby.